Imagine waking up to a luxury market that looks like it's been hit by a silent earthquake. Bags that once sat behind velvet ropes, guarded by wait lists, private client lists, and four-figure price tags are suddenly everywhere, dumped, liquidated, marked down. And for the first time in years, the resale market isn't just cooling. It's collapsing under the weight of 1 million luxury bags flooding the secondary market at once. These were the symbols of "I've made it." The bags that used to whisper exclusivity are now shouting for attention at prices that feel impossible. What changed? How did brands that once defined status, identity, and aspiration get caught in the biggest luxury correction in a decade? Today, we're breaking down 12 luxury brands and ranking them from worst hit to best positioned in this market meltdown. Some of the names won't surprise you. They've been sliding for years. Others, their downfall is so sudden it feels like cultural whiplash. And number one won't just shock you, it will make you rethink everything you thought you knew about luxury value, brand power, and what consumers truly want. Let's count down the brands reshaping the luxury landscape, one price drop at a time. Number 12, Gucci. There was a time when carrying a Gucci bag meant you had arrived. The maximalist king, iconic monograms plastered across everything, celebrity ubiquity that turned every red carpet into a GG runway show, artistic direction that defined the entire late 2010s status game. Alessandro Michele turned Gucci into a cultural phenomenon, eccentric, maximalist, unapologetically loud. But here's what happens when you become too successful, too fast. Logo fatigue set in like a hangover. Too many variations, too many drops, too many influencers carrying the same Marmont, the same Dionysus, the same belt bag that suddenly appeared on every street corner from Soho to Singapore. The resale data tells the brutal truth. Mid-tier Gucci styles are hemorrhaging value. Secondhand inventory has spiked year over year. Buyers now pause before purchasing new pieces, wondering if their investment will crater the moment they walk out of the boutique. What used to feel like rebellion, like you were part of an exclusive artistic movement, now feels like everyone's uniform. The mystique evaporated. It's the hit song that went viral, then played so often on every radio station, every TikTok, every grocery store sound system that you begged for silence. Gucci didn't fail because of bad design. It failed because it succeeded too well and forgot that luxury thrives on scarcity, not saturation. If you think logo fatigue is bad, wait until you see what happens when a brand loses its entire sense of direction. Number 11, Balenciaga. Balenciaga was the disruptor. Edgy, bold, culturally electric, the brand that made you feel dangerous just for carrying it. Demna Gvasalia turned fashion on its head, deconstructed tailoring, ironic proportions, triple S sneakers that looked like they shouldn't work but somehow became the most coveted shoe on earth. Balenciaga didn't just sell bags, it sold attitude. But then came the controversy. You know which one, the campaign that sparked outrage. The brand damage that spread faster than any hype cycle ever could. Consumer distrust isn't something you can design your way out of. The resale market showed immediate softness across key silhouettes. Consumer sentiment dropped like a stone. Collectors who once fought for allocation started stepping back, reconsidering their relationship with the brand. Once a badge of daring taste, now a risk signal for some shoppers. It's a rocket that soared higher than anyone expected, then exploded mid-flight, leaving debris across the luxury landscape. Brand equity, it turns out, is more fragile than leather. But controversy isn't the only killer. Some brands fall simply because the trend river dries up. Number 10, Chloe. Chloe used to be the it girl's secret weapon. Soft, romantic, effortlessly French. Celebrity-favored bags that whispered, "I have taste," without screaming for attention. The Drew bag, the Marcy, those micro-chain styles that defined an entire era of boho luxury. Every fashion editor had one. Every street-style star carried one. For a moment, Chloe was the answer to the question, what does modern femininity look like? But here's the danger of becoming synonymous with a single aesthetic moment. Trends move, eras end. And if your identity is tied too tightly to one silhouette, one vibe, one Pinterest board, you disappear with it. The resale market is brutal. Heavy markdowns, massive secondary market supply, shrinking demand for those same styles that once commanded wait lists. What signaled boho luxury now feels like a dated Instagram aesthetic from 2016. It's not that the bags got worse, it's that the culture moved on and Chloe couldn't reinvent fast enough to keep up. If you're deep into this breakdown, hit subscribe. There's a lot more to uncover in how luxury value is being rewritten right now. Next is a brand that burned too bright and too fast. Number 9, Bottega Veneta. Bottega Veneta's resurrection was supposed to be the blueprint. Daniel Lee arrived and turned quiet luxury into the loudest trend in fashion. The pouch, the cassette, the padded cassette. Intrecciato weaving elevated to cult status. When you know, became the unofficial motto of anyone who understood taste. For a brief, glorious moment, Bottega was the secret handshake of the fashion elite. But secrets don't stay secret when everyone's whispering them on Instagram. Trend overexposure killed the exclusivity. Copycat competitors flooded the market with quilted, padded, woven imitations. Premium pricing continued, but without adequate scarcity to justify it. The pre-owned market tells the story. Prices shrinking for hero products. Discounting appearing on once hot styles that used to sell out instantly. What was once whispered is now shouted across every fashion feed. It's the indie band ruined by its own radio hit. The moment mainstream success destroys the underground mystique that made it special in the first place. Bottega didn't lose its craftsmanship. It lost its aura. And then we hit a brand that managed to saturate the world on purpose. Number 8, Coach was the original accessible luxury upgrade. The gateway drug, the first real bag you saved up for. The leather goods brand that taught an entire generation what craftsmanship could feel like without requiring a trust fund. For years, Coach was the smart choice, quality, heritage, American craftsmanship at an attainable price point. But attainability has limits. Overproduction destroyed the dream. Distribution became too wide. Factory outlets multiplied. The brand that once felt special became the brand you could find at every mall, every outlet center, every flash sale. The secondary market is flooded. Resale value compression is severe. Brand fatigue among aspirational shoppers is real. The bag that once felt like a step up, like you were entering a new tier of sophistication, now feels like a starter pack. It's not that Coach makes bad products. It's that luxury requires controlled scarcity, and Coach chose volume over mystique. The math was simple. Sell more bags, make more money. But the emotional equation was ignored. Sell everywhere. Mean nothing. But if Coach is the gateway, the next brand became the fast food version of luxury. Number 7, Michael Kors. Michael Kors was everywhere, and that was the problem. At its peak, Michael Kors was celebrity-friendly glamour with instantly recognizable logos, jet-set bags in every color, runway shows that felt like parties, a brand that promised accessible sophistication, but accessible became too accessible. The aggressive mass-market push turned exclusivity into ubiquity. Discount cycles became predictable. The brand appeared at Macy's, Nordstrom Rack, every department store sale event. The resale market shows the carnage. Massive price drainage, high surplus inventory, deep discounting across every platform. Prestige was replaced by accessibility, and then accessibility was replaced by oversaturation. It's champagne poured into paper cups. The liquid might be the same, but the experience, the feeling, the status, the identity evaporates entirely. Michael Kors made a choice: reach or reverence. They chose reach. The market is now showing them what that choice cost. Now let's move to a house caught between heritage and reinvention. Here's the truth, connecting every brand on this list. It wasn't just marketing missteps. It wasn't just trend fatigue or creative directors losing their touch. The real collapse began when consumers stopped buying for aspiration and started buying for value retention. Luxury shifted from emotion to economics. Suddenly, every bag became an investment decision. Every purchase was vetted against resale curves. Every brand was measured not by how it made you feel, but by how much equity it would hold. That shift cracked the foundation of a decade of hype. The Instagram era taught us to buy bags for the photo, the flex, the moment. But the resale era is teaching us something colder, sharper, more calculating. We're not just consumers anymore. We're investors, curators, data analysts, tracking depreciation curves like stock portfolios. The emotional high of owning an it bag isn't enough anymore. We want longevity, scarcity, craftsmanship, identity alignment. And when brands can't deliver that, the market punishes them instantly. If you're deep into this breakdown, hit subscribe. There's a lot more to uncover in how luxury value is being rewritten right now. Now let's continue, because the next 5 brands show us exactly what happens when heritage meets confusion. Number 6, Burberry. Burberry should have been untouchable. British luxury royalty. The trench coat that defined an entire century of style. Check pattern so iconic it became cultural shorthand. But Burberry spent the last decade confused about its own identity. Multiple creative overhauls, branding confusion, logo changes, aesthetic pivots. Riccardo Tisci tried to make it edgy. Daniel Lee is now trying to make it classic again. Consumers don't know which version of Burberry they're supposed to love anymore. Is it heritage? Is it streetwear? Is it refined British elegance or downtown London grit? The sales data shows the confusion. Softness in key regions. Bag styles failing to hold value. A brand adrift between what it was and what it's trying to become. When your identity fractures, so does your customer base. It's not that any single direction was wrong. It's that changing direction every 3 years makes it impossible for loyalty to form, for mystique to build, for value to compound. Burberry is still beloved, but beloved isn't enough when the market demands clarity. Meanwhile, another heritage player is struggling for very different reasons. Number 5, Prada. Prada was the intellectual's luxury brand. High fashion influence that shaped runways for decades. The nylon cult following that turned functional fabric into status symbols. Miuccia Prada as the philosopher-designer who made fashion think. Prada wasn't just about bags, it was about ideas. But ideas don't always translate to consistent product performance. Mixed demand across categories. Some silhouettes thriving, others cratering. The resale market shows sharp divergence. Certain segments slumping while others hold steady. The re-edition bags perform. The classic nylon backpacks still command respect. But newer designs? Rapid value erosion. Once a futurist's badge, Prada is now losing its sharp edge in an increasingly crowded luxury landscape. The problem isn't lack of creativity, it's inconsistency. When customers can't predict which Prada piece will hold value and which will tank, trust erodes. And in luxury, trust is currency. Prada is still revered, but reverence without reliability is a fragile foundation. Next, a house stuck between heritage brilliance and too many reissues. Number 4, Fendi the Baguette. 2 words that defined an entire era. Carrie Bradshaw. It's not a bag, it's a baguette. Cultural dominance that transcended fashion. Fendi had it all. Roman heritage, Lagerfeld genius, LVMH backing, and a silhouette so perfect it became iconic. But then they went back to the well too many times. Re-editions, logo-forward revivals, new baguettes in every material, every size, every collaboration. What made the baguette special was its moment, its specificity, its place in time. Repetition replaced exclusivity. The resale data splits sharply. Original pieces from the golden era hold value. Newer versions fall fast. Collectors know the difference. It's the classic mistake, believing that recreating a hit will recapture the magic. But magic doesn't work that way. The first time feels like discovery. The 10th time feels like merchandising. Fendi is still a powerhouse, but the over-reliance on past glory is showing cracks. Want to know which brands are actually thriving right now? Subscribe and drop a comment. I'll cover the rising stars next. Now we enter the top 3. Brands that didn't just slip, they crashed. Number 3, Versace. Versace was the brand of excess. Bold, flamboyant, star-studded. Medusa had iconography that screamed confidence. Gianni Versace built an empire on the principle that luxury should be loud, proud, unapologetic. For decades, Versace was the choice of people who didn't whisper their wealth. They announced it. But the Capri Holdings acquisition changed the game. Parent group stagnation, weakening global demand, strategic confusion, revenue dips that can't be ignored, silhouettes unable to maintain prestige pricing, resale instability across core products. The glam fantasy lost its shine. Not because the aesthetic changed, but because the market moved toward quiet luxury, understated wealth, stealth wealth dressing. When the culture shifts from maximalism to minimalism, brands built on flash suffer most. Versace is still Versace, the heritage, the iconography, the name, all intact. But relevance and heritage are different currencies. And right now, relevance is winning. The next brand, a quiet luxury star going through a loud problem. Number 2, Loewe. Loewe was supposed to be the answer. Jonathan Anderson brought artisan prestige, craft obsession, and the puzzle bag, a geometric masterpiece that became the thinking person's status symbol. Loewe represented everything the market claimed it wanted: understated luxury, exceptional craftsmanship, creative intelligence. For a moment, Loewe was unstoppable, but over-reliance on one hero silhouette created uneven resale patterns. The puzzle bag in popular colors? Still strong, less desirable variants. Price divergence, discounting on colors and sizes that don't match the hype. The refined craft message blurred under trend pressure. When your entire brand identity rests on one bag, even a brilliant one, you're vulnerable to market fatigue. Loewe's problem isn't quality or creativity. It's that the market absorbed the puzzle bag, moved on, and is now waiting for the next big idea. In luxury, you can't rest on a single masterpiece forever. And now, the biggest shock in the ranking. Number 1, Longchamp, yes, Longchamp. Not a heritage haute couture house, not a logo-driven hype machine, not even trying to compete in the aspirational status game, just Longchamp. Practical, reliable, ubiquitous. Here's why they're number 1. While luxury giants collapsed under the weight of prestige erosion, Longchamp simply didn't. Their price drops were minimal compared to the chaos elsewhere. Not because they're more desirable, but because they were never playing the same game. Longchamp never promised exclusivity. They promised functionality with French flair. The Le Pliage tote was never an it bag. It was the bag you actually used. For travel, for work, for life. Ubiquity diluted exclusivity, but didn't destroy brand equity, because Longchamp never positioned itself as rare. It positioned itself as reliable. The resale market reflects this. Consistent pricing for core models. Secondary market saturation exists, but prices don't collapse drastically. Why? Because Longchamp buyers never expected their bag to be an investment. They expected it to be useful, and it delivered. In a market where giants stumbled trying to maintain mystique they'd already lost, the simplest brand refused to fall. Not elite, not rare, but trusted. Longchamp's positioning is a reminder that consistency sometimes beats hype, that utility can outlast aspiration, that the brands not trying to be everything might just survive longer than those that promise the world. It's the ultimate plot twist. In a ranking of luxury's biggest declines, the winner is the brand that never pretended to be precious in the first place. This ranking doesn't just reveal which brand stumbled. It reveals a complete cultural reset in how we define luxury. We've moved from hype-driven consumption to a more calculating, data-aware customer who tracks resale curves, production cycles, and saturation metrics like a portfolio manager. The emotional high of owning an it bag isn't enough anymore. People want longevity, scarcity, craftsmanship, identity alignment, and most importantly, they want to know their investment won't crater the moment they leave the boutique. The luxury market of the 2010s was built on aspiration and Instagram aesthetics. The luxury market of the 2020s is being rebuilt on economic rationality and resale value. This isn't necessarily a bad thing. It's forcing brands to reconsider what they actually offer beyond hype. It's making consumers smarter, more discerning, more thoughtful about what they buy and why. The next era of luxury will reward brands that move slowly, deliberately, and quietly. Scarcity will return, not as a marketing tactic, but as a survival strategy. Heritage houses will rediscover craftsmanship. Trend cycles will shrink. Fast luxury will fade. For buyers, this market crash is actually a moment of opportunity, the chance to buy pieces that once felt unreachable, at prices we may never see again. But it's also a wake-up call. Status symbols can evaporate overnight when a brand stops protecting its mystique. The brands that survive this correction won't be the loudest or the most hyped. They'll be the ones that understand luxury isn't about being everywhere, it's about being irreplaceable. If you want the follow-up, the 12 brands actually rising during this collapse, let me know. That ranking might surprise you even more, because while these 12 brands face headwinds, there are others quietly building empires in the wreckage. The luxury landscape is being rewritten. The question is, which brands understand the new rules?